If you will, please join me in lighting the chalice. We light this beacon of hope, sign of our quest for truth and meaning, in celebration of the life we share together.
Thank you, John. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Low Country. Those of you who are longtime members and are participants in the work that we do here, you know the nature of the people that we have here, their compassion, their heart, their open-mindedness, and their willingness to continue to build a community that is beloved and significant and valued in this community. Those of you who are guests and visitors, I'd like for you to know that you've managed to make your way into one of the kindest groups of people that exist in this state. I would hope that you have experienced that or experiencing it even now. And the other thing I'd like to do is invite those of you who are here that are guests and visitors to stay for our talk back, because that's where you'll find out our true nature in that way. There's a number of announcements that I want to bring to our attention today, so please be patient with me. But one of the most important announcements that I need to bring to your attention is today, David and Sarah is celebrating the 23rd anniversary of his 40th birthday.
To you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear David, happy birthday to you.
And thank you, Ellen, for sharing David with us over the years. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Some other reminders that I need to bring to your attention. Rosemary, where are you? If you would, please.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Rosemary. I'm with the Social Justice Committee. Just want you to know, if you'll remember, April 12th, there was the Zoom Anti-Racism Jubilee. It was attended by Diana and by Tina. It was an entire weekend, and I was talking about the issue of white supremacy. Paula Jones Cole, who is the formulator of the 8th principle, conducted it. And Diana has put together a number of flyers of a summary of the event, and they are in the Clara Barton Library. So if you want to get some afterwards, there's about 7 or 8 copies of each one, and it's first come, first served. So they'll be there for you. Thanks.
And if you want one that is gone, just ask me, and I'll make more copies.
Thank you, Diana. Thank you, Rosemary. A reminder that movie night is this coming Tuesday, May 7th at 6 o'clock. The film that we'll be examining is Namesake. I hope that you can be there. If you'd like to attend, we'd like to know about it, so just speak with Hayagwa, Beth, or Lynn concerning that movie night. We had a great time last week or last month. The flower ceremony is this coming Sunday. Dick Hood will be leading that, and he asks that you each bring a flower that you can trade with somebody else during this ceremony. It's been a meaningful time in the life of this congregation over the years. And so take note of that. There's a number of pieces of information that's in your bulletin about that. Last Sunday, I neglected to mention that Alice Follard Block has become a member. And Alice, if you're watching, your badge is here. So when you migrate back next year, it'll be here for you. Thank you. Please take note that on the last Sunday of the month, it's announced that I will be speaking on May 2nd. I would love to be able to have spoken on May 2nd. And as much as I would love a time machine that can take me there, that's going to be on the 26th. That's during our congregational meeting. And you'll also see the music on Malphras. Shauna in a dress, did I do that right? Is coming to be with us on the 18th of that Saturday, so please make plans for that. The rummage sale was successful. We raised a little over, right at $3,000, and we also continue to knit our community together in very strong and powerful ways. And so thank all of you who volunteered for that and the benefits that came from it. Now, first or second time visitors. Are there any who have been here for the first time? Is on my right. In the center, any first or second time guests? On my far left, your right. Yes, ma'am. Nice to have you. Thank you. And this couple here, yes. welcome. Glad you could be with us today. Any others that I've missed? Let me pause to see if I've missed any announcements. We all good here? Okay. We continue to follow ourselves as we work together to make a difference in our world, and it pleases me to announce my good friend, Dr. Neal Jones, for the opening words. Dr. Jones.
Good morning. It's good to be with you this morning on this beautiful day. Our opening words are from Reverend Gretchen Haley, who writes, "For this one moment, know that you are loved, that you are safe and whole and loved. Know that you belong here among us, here upon this earth, in your body. However tired or broken your heart may be, whatever fear, disappointment, anger you may carry, for this hour, know that you are not alone. Feel the presence of others surrounding you, breathing beside you and with you, discovering together the way our voices rise and fall together in harmony, in hope. Claim here a resilient freedom, the choice for love, for light, to live with joy and gratitude and praise as a form of resistance. Already we are organizing. Come, let us worship together." Our opening hymn is not our opening hymn. We are saving it for the end. Instead, we will be singing something else. And our birthday boy will announce what that is.
So this is one that you all know. You don't need your hymnals for this. Ellen is going to call out. Just listen to what she has to say. It's a little ditty called "This Little Light of Mine."
This little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
All around the neighborhood.
All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. All around the neighborhood, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Ah, hide it under a bushel. No!
Hide it under a bushel, no! I'm gonna let it shine. Hide it under a bushel, no! I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
This little light of mine.
This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. This little light of mine, I'm gonna let it shine. Let it shine, let it shine, let it shine.
Now in sharing our abundance and supporting our community, a reminder that we continue to support the two food banks in our area at Sandalwood and also at Blood and Self Help. Table in the back is for that purpose. And I see we have Pretty good offering this morning. There comes one right now. Thank you. And I hope we'll continue to be excited about that. And now, to sustain our community, freely have we received gifts that minister to our needs of body and spirit. Gladly we bring to our church and its wide concerns a portion of this bounty. And now we'll pass the baskets. Thanks to everyone for your generosity.
This is the time we share our joys and concerns. One of our favorite hymns, Let It Be a Dance, contains the word, share the laughter, bear the pain. And that's what we do for each other in this place. So if you have a joy or concern that you'd like to share, come forward. Take a stone from the basket, tell us who you are, give us your joy or concern, and then put the stone in the cairn.
Good morning. Marietta was hoping to be with us today. I don't know if she is. Oh, that's great. And Jackie Stahl is back. Jackie, are you? Yes, wonderful. It's good to have you back with us. Jim Weston?
Yes.
Is here? Oh, yes. That's wonderful. Welcome back, Jim. Well, Jan, we're glad to see you too, but we've been here for a while. And the Garveys, I haven't seen them for a while too. They're back. Just a thing about my brother. He is home now, but he's having a hard time. We're hoping he's out of danger, but he's been on a lot of really strong drugs for pain, so he's still having a hard time. So keep him in your hearts, please. Thank you.
My assistant. That's it.
You just did it backwards, but we forgive you.
I did something backwards.
I'm slow. Good morning, I'm Clay. I just want to share joy, pure adulterated joy. We had a group of 10 people yesterday, the board members and all the staff, do 4 or 5 hours of strategic planning. And they did it from the love of their heart. It is just a wonderful leadership group. And I want to thank Gwinnett for leading us in that process. Thank you.
I'm sorry, Jane.
Well, Betsy stole my thunder. I was going to say, not only am I here today, which brings me joy, but Jim is with me. Yeah. So it's been 7 weeks now, and his hip is better all the time. And I hope his spirits will be better after being here today. I know they will. Thanks.
I have the biggest rock in the basket. I had a huge joy. One of my nephews called me the other day and said, we're going to be on Hilton Head Island for a week. And I haven't seen him for 2 years. He's a young architect in Kingston, Ontario, and his wife, Charlotte, and their 1-year-old baby who I haven't met yet. And his name is Otto. So I'm just overjoyed. And Betsy and I are going to meet him for lunch tomorrow at the Salty Dog.
Hi, I'm Chris, and I'd like to share a joy. Good neighbor of mine has manufactured the name tag holders for us, and as a no charge donation, and his woodworking expertise and efforts are greatly appreciated. I have a sample of it in the foyer, along with a thank you card that would be nice if people could sign from the congregation.
Hi, I'm Steve. Joy and I have been down here about 8 years, and we haven't done anything with our garage. We had boxes and boxes that we never opened. And we had somebody, a friend of ours, came here motivated, and she did almost a whole day's work on Saturday, and I could thank her for that.
Hi, I'm Diana. I have a joy and a concern. The concern is my second mom up in Virginia is in the hospital. She's not doing well. Her gallbladder is being drained, and she's on the IV antibiotics, and she can't have surgery because she has a bad heart. She's 85, and it's scary. So I did a road trip with Rosie, my little pooch, and spent the night and just spent quality time with her in the hospital. We actually had fun hanging out in the hospital, if that's possible. And the joy is I am leaving on Saturday, I guess in 6 days, right, for New Zealand and Australia. I'll be gone a few weeks, so I'm going to miss y'all. And I'm missing a lot of things. Donna's celebration of life. But Donna knows that I'm there in spirit. Other things too, like the flower ceremony next week. So I'm missing a lot. It's never convenient to go away, but I'll take lots of pictures. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jackie. I have what has turned out to be a joy. I was in Pennsylvania for 3 weeks in April with my dad and my 3 sisters. He was having pretty bad complications from congestive heart failure,
and it was a real roller coaster. But he was in the hospital, and then out of the hospital, then back in the hospital, and he was in the hospital when I left to come back home here. But the good news is, he's in a rehab now, and he's starting to actually sound like himself again. And he's getting stronger, and they actually think he's going to be able to go home and actually be back to what he was before all of these complications. So it's been a roller coaster, and I'm just so relieved and grateful that he's doing okay again. Thank you.
So, Race, yeah, it is. I have a great joy. My son Ben got married last week in Vegas. So it was a hoot. And the theme was, I don't know if anybody knows of the group called Fish. Yeah. Okay, so the Fish was at the Sphere, so that was the whole thing. That was like outrageous. You need to go there. But in any event, it was such a cool wedding. And they had a tattoo artist, and we had an Elvis impersonator. I mean, anything you name it. It was so Vegas. And I'm just so happy. And Ben is 40, she's 41, and it's just the most beautiful relationship I've seen. They've been together like 9 years. She's 99% deaf. And he takes such good care of her. And she reads the lips, and I love her dearly. She's like the daughter I never had, so thank you. Yeah.
I just want to thank everyone who showed up for the concert in Sun City on Monday. I saw some of the faces. I didn't know the names, but I know the faces, and they became the Sun City Dancers. So they have a new title now. And of course, I'm always asked, when am I going to be performing? And I will put that on the website. I think there's a place on the website you can put things for what's going on, or you want people to know what's going on. Is that correct? Or Facebook? Facebook? It's on Facebook. Okay. So thank you for supporting us.
Will you join me now in reading affirmation number 458 in your hymnal in the back? Mindful of truth, ever exceeding our knowledge, and community ever exceeding our practice, reverently we covenant together, beginning with ourselves as we are, to share the strength of integrity and the heritage of the Spirit and the unending quest for wisdom and love. Now Dr. Neal Jones will give us our message.
Well, without any collaboration on our parts, it turns out that today's sermon is something of a sequel to Charlie's sermon from last Sunday. The Lord works in mysterious ways, Charlie.
You're using the both of us, right?
Right. Well, my journey from being a Southern Baptist to being a UU humanist was long and meandering. But the guiding star was love. Now, I hesitate to use that word because it's often sentimentalized into a mushy-gushy emotion. But UUs put hands and feet on love. You move beyond feeling to action. Now, some religions are fixated on what happens to us after we die. But you're more concerned with what happens to us while we live. Some religions are preoccupied with saving souls. You're more concerned with saving our world. Some religions are obsessed with avoiding hell and getting into heaven. You're more concerned with making our life together on this earth less hellish and more heavenly for every person. What makes your compassion all the more admirable is that it's not easy to care these days. The term compassion fatigue used to be reserved for helping professionals only. but it could well describe the plight of all people who care today, because there's so much to care about. Human rights atrocities here in the United States, predatory politicians and their callous policies, acts of treason, acts of indecency, the toxic atmosphere of our civic discourse, the failure of our religious leadership, the vulgarity of our political leadership, the sheer volume and relentless pace of outrageous behavior can be overwhelming. These daily revelations accumulate on your shoulders, in your clenched jaw, in your elevated blood pressure, and in the knot in your stomach. Prolonged exposure to trauma takes its toll, mentally and physically. Therefore, it should be no surprise that so many have apparently stopped caring. The lack of empathy from many of our so-called leaders no longer registers as it becomes the new normal. The pain of those who suffer no longer touches us as it becomes commonplace. To borrow a line from a popular resistance movement, however, yet you persist. The image I have of the nonviolent social activist is that he or she holds up one hand to stop and the other hand to invite. Now, I get this image from the feminist activist of the 60s and 70s, Barbara Deming, who wrote about the two hands of nonviolence. She writes, "With one hand, we say to one who is angry, or to an oppressor, or to an unjust system, stop what you are doing. I refuse to honor your role in the role you are choosing to play. I refuse to obey you. I refuse to cooperate with your demands. I refuse to build the walls and the bombs. I refuse to pay for the guns. With this hand, I will even interfere with the wrong you are doing. I want to disrupt the easy pattern of your life." And then the advocate of nonviolence raises the other hand. It's an outstretched hand. Maybe with love and sympathy, maybe not. But with this hand we say, I won't let go of you or cast you out of the human family. I have faith that you can make a better choice than the one you are making. And I will be here when you are ready. Like it or not, we are a part of one another. So I want to talk for a few moments this morning about how to hold out an outstretched hand of invitation while simultaneously holding up a hand of opposition. I think this is the spiritual challenge of the social activist, which includes nearly all you, since we do care about the well-being of our world and those who are beaten down by the world. How do we resist the hardness of our world without becoming hardened? How do we stand against intolerance without becoming intolerant? How do we oppose bigotry without becoming bigoted? How do we fight hatred without becoming hateful? These are the occupational hazards for those who care enough to hold up a hand of opposition. Now, as I think about how we might protect ourselves against these hazards, I think about another image given to us by a Cherokee grandfather who told his grandson about a battle that goes on inside us all. He said, "My son, the battle is between two wolves inside us. One is evil. It's anger, envy, jealousy, sorrow, regret, greed, arrogance, self-pity, guilt, resentment, inferiority, lies, false pride, superiority, and ego. The other wolf is good. It is joy, peace, love, hope, serenity, humility, kindness, benevolence, empathy, generosity, truth, compassion, and faith. The grandson thought for a minute and then asked the grandfather, "So, which wolf wins?" And the grandfather replied, "The one you feed." The story is so simple, yet so true. The evil wolf, or the good wolf inside us, is fed daily by the events in our environment that we focus on, the thoughts and memories we ruminate on, the feelings we dwell on, and the choices we make. And we do have a choice. The way we arrange the furniture in our interior world will be reflected in our exterior world. Feed the good wolf, and it will show up in our constructive behavior, speech, habits, and character. Or feed the evil wolf, and the whole world will turn negative. The crucial question is, which wolf are you feeding? If you're feeding only the evil wolf, the wolf of anger, arrogance, ego, and so forth, you may be able to hold up a hand of opposition. But unless you feed the good wolf, the wolf of joy, peace, love, hope, and so forth, you will not be able to hold out also an outstretched hand of invitation. That hand represents our faith that people can change, that everyone deserves forgiveness, that salvation is possible for all. Now, I'll be the first to admit that it's a hard balancing act of social action, but unless we can achieve that balance, we may, to paraphrase Jesus, gain the whole world, but lose our soul. Now, I can tell you right now that if you're ingesting a steady diet of catastrophic news and unbelievable headlines, you are feeding the wolf of resentment. If you're engaging in nonstop protests and outrage over the outrageous behavior of some of our fellow citizens and some of our representatives, you're feeding the wolf of bitterness. If you're engaging in nonstop conversation of how hopeless the current situation is and how hopeless our resistance is, you're feeding the wolf of despair. If you're spending your time trying to convince your cousin that immigrants are people too, or your coworker that most acts of terrorism in America are committed by Americans, you're feeding the wolf of helplessness. My advice to you are the words of Bob Newhart, who famously portrayed in a comedy skit a therapist who could cure any bad behavior with two simple words. Stop it. Give yourself a break. Feed the good wolf inside you by taking care of yourself. Take a break from the news. You can stay informed without having to stay on top of the headlines every single day. Take a walk. Spend time with your family. Call a friend you haven't spoken to in a while. Read something for fun. Do something for fun. And do something to resist. But don't try to do everything. If you do, you'll just wear yourself out and give up. And the authoritarian powers in our society that are trying to eviscerate our democracy would like nothing more than for thinking, caring citizens to throw in the towel. Focus on something that you're good at and feel passionate about, and do that, and leave the rest for others to do. And don't get sucked into helpless and hopeless talk. The threat to our democracy is serious and real. But these are not the worst times we've seen. We've been through worse. There was a civil war, and slavery, and lynching, and segregation, and child labor, and a Great Depression, and 2 world wars, and the Kardashians. We've endured a lot. Again, authoritarian regimes count on a populace that throws up its hands in despair. If you're spending your time trying to change a closed mind, you are wasting your time. I know this is hard for liberals to believe, but some people don't care about the suffering of others. Some people are unresponsive to evidence. Some people ignore and dismiss the facts. If you're continually running up against a brick wall, stop it. You'll just give yourself a headache. Not only that, but when you engage people with indefensible beliefs, you treat their ideas as valid and worthy of consideration. Now, every person deserves respect, but not every idea deserves respect. Gandhi advised, be the change you want to see in the world. Some of the most joyless people I have known have been social activists working for justice. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't want to live in a world without joy. What we are hopefully building is not only a world of justice, but a world of joy. And the way to build that world is to embody joy in the struggle for justice. We need to remember that journalism today, more than ever, focuses on the catastrophic, the corrupt, the sensational. But the headlines are not the full stories of our time. They are not the last word of what we are capable of. They are not the whole story of who we are. There are also stories of goodness, of kindness, of healing, of hope, and of joy. We have to feed the wolf of joy inside us in order to see joy around us and in order to create joy in our world. In our efforts to create a just and joyful world, how do we maintain that difficult balance of holding up a hand of opposition to the dehumanizing forces in our society, while simultaneously holding out a hand of invitation to those we oppose to join the human family? We cannot do so if we feed the inner wolf of hatred. Now, there are certain beliefs, behaviors, and problems we should hate, but we should never hate people. If we imitate our hate-filled opponents, then our opponents have won. When we stereotype and categorize others, we are violating our values. When we demean our opponents, we're demeaning ourselves. Our world does not need any more hate. When we return hate for hate, we are creating a hateful world. Dr. King said it best, darkness cannot drive out darkness. Only light can do that. And hate cannot drive out hate. Only love can do that. Our struggle is not personal. It's principled. We are Unitarian Universalists. We do not believe in a common creed, but we do live a common set of principles. We affirm and promote the inherent worth and dignity of all people, justice, equity, and compassion in human relations, acceptance of others, a free and responsible search for truth and meaning, the right of conscience and the use of the democratic process, the goal of world community, and respect for the interdependent web of all existence of which we are part. That's who we are, regardless of the circumstances. If I had to boil down all the verbiage of our UU principles into one word, that word would be respect. We promise to respect one another. You don't have to respect a person's beliefs or opinions to respect a person. You don't have to respect a person's words or actions to respect the person. Even when a person is disrespectful toward you, you can still respect them. How? By remembering who you are. You are a person of principle. And why do we act with respect? For your own self-respect. Whenever I have gotten down in the mud with muddy people, I may have felt justified or clever or self-congratulatory in the moment, but afterwards, I've always felt dirty. Taking the low road diminishes our own self-respect. If someone else takes the low road, don't let them take you down with them. Follow Michelle Obama's directive. When they go low, we go high. Take the high road of respect for your own self-respect. Take the high road for the sake of a more civil and humane world. This is why we started out our service this morning by singing This Little Light of Mine. Now, it may be a children's song, but its innocence is deceptive. It was adopted as one of the freedom songs during the civil rights movement because of its defiance. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Despite the overwhelming darkness, I'm going to let it shine. I will not let hate snuff out my light of love. I will not let fear extinguish my light of faith. I will not let despair put out my light of hope. This little light of mine, I'm going to let it shine. Finally, if we wish to extend a hand of invitation while also holding up a hand of opposition, we must take the long view. Now, when I observe that times have been worse, I do not mean to diminish the gravity of these times. We are in danger of losing our precious democracy to authoritarianism and oligarchy. Reason and truth are under attack. Empathy is not only a lost civic virtue, but it's despised in the public square. Our time seems to have been told by William Butler Yeats. Do you remember his words? Turning and turning in the widening gyre, the falcon cannot hear the falconer. Things fall apart. The center cannot hold. Mere anarchy is loosed upon the world. The blood-dimmed tide is loosed, and everywhere the ceremony of innocence is drowned. The best lack all conviction, while the worst are full of passionate intensity. These are bleak times, which is why we cannot feed the inner wolves of despair and desperation by limiting our perspective to our immediate circumstances. We must feed the inner wolves of faith and hope by lifting our gaze to the large sweep of history. And from that larger perspective, we see with Dr. King that the arc of the moral universe is long, but it bends toward justice. I suppose you know that Dr. King was paraphrasing a sermon by the 19th century Unitarian minister Theodore Parker. Parker was an abolitionist in the 1840s and 50s who sheltered runaway slaves in his home, violating the fugitive slave law, who gave financial support to John Brown's raid on the Federal Armory at Harper's Ferry, who preached with a revolver on his pulpit for his own protection. Parker knew a thing or two about fighting for a cause in challenging times. Yet he did not lose hope. Now, Dr. King's famous quote comes from Reverend Parker's sermon, Justice and Conscience, in which he declared, "Look at the facts of the world. You see a continual and progressive triumph of the right. I do not pretend to understand the moral universe. The arc is a long one, and my eye reaches but a little ways. I cannot calculate the curve and complete the figure by the experience of sight, but I can divine it by conscience. And from what I see, I am sure it bends toward justice." Reverend Parker took the long view and the practical view. The arc of the moral universe does bend toward justice, but it doesn't bend on its own. Justice does not exert a magical gravitational force. The arc of the moral universe bends toward justice because so many of the generations that came before us spent their lives pushing it in that direction. The arc of the moral universe bends toward justice because so many of us in this room get up every day and push it toward justice. Keep on pushing. Keep on fighting. Keep on resisting. And do so with a defiant respect for the sake of our world and for the sake of your soul. Amen.
Thank you, Dr. Jones. You have embedded in us a heart and a hope. I look forward to being able to talk together with you in our talk back. That was a fabulous message, as always. Thank you so much, my friend. If you would please take your hymnals into your hands, turn with me to hymn number 170. The hymn title is We Are a Gentle, Angry People. To put a spotlight on the message this morning, I'd like to ask that we sing together verses 1, 2, and 3. Verses 1, 2, and 3 of hymn 170. May we stand together and sing if you're willing and able. Before we begin to make our way into the next part of our community together, I want to thank those of you who have volunteered to fill this place. Oh, Ellen, a favor from you. Would you grab a green mug and bring it in to me? I know. I asked so. Oh, thank you. There we go. Okay.
Anyone who's new, if you want to stand out and hold this out there, we can all look at you and say, you're new, and we can get your best. You asked for it.
So if you don't want... So if you don't want us to talk to you, don't drink out of this mug. But if you do want to meet us, grab one. We'd love to be able to talk with you a little bit more. Thank you for that teamwork, Ellen. There's a number of other volunteers that make this morning possible. Those that are in our security that watch the front door to make sure as much as they can to keep us safe. The music that's provided here, thank you so much. Obviously, David and John and the 7 principals that continue to bring this great message. I think that that's all I want to bring to our attention as we gather ourselves together. And so I'm going to ask now if Dr. Jones would bring us final remarks.
Our closing words come from Reverend Tess Baumberger. Love is kind with people, but impatient with injustice. Love is assertive and respectful. Love listens to the anger of those who experience oppression without interrupting, without explaining. It listens with compassion, seeking always to understand. Love is slow to anger, yet anger can be a part of love. Consider the force with which parents defend their young. Love assists, empowers, and frees. Love's anger rises to meet injustice in considered ways that help correct it.
And now standing, we extinguish the chalice. While we extinguish this flame, we still carry in our hearts the light of truth, the warmth of community, and the fire of commitment until we are together again.
Good job today, by the way.
What'd you say?